Shalom, and welcome to our first video on kfira, on heresy. Heresy is the idea of denying the fundamental beliefs of Judaism. There's a misnomer about Judaism that Judaism is mostly about how we treat other people, or even our relationship with God, or our or how we act, or prayer. It's all actions, and but really Judaism is a system of beliefs first and foremost. It's ideas that we're supposed to have true knowledge of the reality around us, and an understanding of what the truth really is, separate from how we act. Now, how we act is important. Don't take me wrong and think that it's not, that Judaism is not about how we act. But in this series of videos on kfira, we're going to examine the fundamental beliefs about Judaism, and and what happens when we deny those fundamental beliefs. So first, let's go through a couple of the fundamental beliefs about Judaism. So the first, right, and these are taken from Maimonides' list, and these aren't only fundamental beliefs of Judaism. And in fact, there isn't consensus that these beliefs are the fundamental beliefs of Judaism. There is debate, but it's become the practice of Judaism to accept these fundamental principles as our beliefs. And the definition of a believing Jew is one that maintains that these are true, that believes that these are true. If one doesn't believe, then the accepted practice among Judaism is to understand this person as a heretic, as a kofar, as one that denies the beliefs of the Torah. And maybe in this video series we'll get to what the consequences are of being outside this circle of accepted fundamental principles. Okay, so the first one is that the creator, that Hashem is the creator, God is the creator and director of all creatures, and that He alone made, makes, and will make everything that exists. In other words, there aren't any other creators. There isn't a series of creators out there, and this was a joint effort. That God was the one that created everything. There's nothing outside of what God has created. That's the first belief that we have. The second belief that we have is in the unity, and there's no unity like God in any matter, that He alone, God, is and will be. And this is what we say when we say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, that God is one. On a very simple level and a true level, God is one means that there aren't two gods, that there's only one God. That makes sense. There's only one God. But this is one of the most complex ideas in all of Judaism, the unity of God, the achdut of God. It's a mitzvah to maintain that it is true, not just one of our fundamental beliefs, but in and of itself. And like I said, in Shema, we recite this every single day as an axiom that we believe that this is true. But it pertains to everything, even to the part to understanding that God is indivisible, that He has no parts, that He is a pure one. Something that isn't one can be divided into parts, and then joined into as one thing. But that's not a true unity. That's not true oneness. True oneness means that that God is indivisible. And the last one that we're going to do in this video, we'll go on in the next video with more fundamental beliefs, is that God has no physical body, nor can anything physical affect Him, and that God has no form at all. A lot of times we find anthropomorphic descriptions of God, that God has a hand, that God is jealous. This means that God has no physical form whatsoever. He doesn't have a strong hand that took us out of Egypt. That's not literal. And he doesn't have any emotions, or doesn't experience jealousy or anything like that. There is no physical expression when it comes to God. God is completely outside the realm of physicality. These are deep concepts, don't get me wrong. They're very hard to just superficially understand. But these are at least a first look at the fundamental principles of Judaism. And I invite you to study them more in depth. Google them. See if you can understand them at a more complex level. These are our fundamentals. And we'll go on and explain more in the next video.